Thank you, Kathy Lovies, for being our greeter. For those of you who forgot, Kathy was the birthday girl last week. It was plastered all over the internet, Facebook. She's a twin, and her sister just told the world about it. I think I saw it 15 times. Anyway, thanks for being the greeter today, Kathy. And we're going to ask John Rose, he's got a really great tenor voice, to lead us in O Canada. But before we do, remember when we get to the part where it used to be an all thy sons command, it's in all of us command. Take it away, John.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, in all our sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for you.
I think I even forgot that time. I was too busy thinking about other stuff. I think it was more of an alto than a tenor. Is that about right, Neil? Is that an alto? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. You look like you're ready for toast.
Oh, yeah.
Please grab your glass and join me in a toast to the Queen.
This is for Liz.
Canada, and the Kitchener Westmount Rotary Fund. Please bow your heads. The fruit of silence is prayer. The fruit of prayer is faith. The fruit of faith is love. And the fruit of love is service. The fruit of service is peace. As we enjoy this meal today, let us reflect on how we can increase our faith, our love, our service, so that there is more peace in our world. Amen. If you're a Rotarian and you have a guest with you today, please introduce him or her. Todd, I know you have somebody.
I've got Chris Wilk here, a Stantec employee and a guest of the club, a prospective member.
Welcome, Chris. And anyone else?
This is Nicole McNall. She is a sales consultant at our sister property, which is Highland Place, and she's a potential, what would you be? Rotarian.
Yeah.
Client.
Rotarian in waiting.
Yeah.
And Ray, you want to introduce anybody else?
Yep.
I think if Todd has introduced his friend, Chris Wilk, we're good.
We're good to go. We have the speaker coming, apparently, so we'll introduce him when he gets here. So, Rotarians, please join me in welcoming our guests. And if you're a guest, please lead the way to the buffet.
I always get chair with a name.
Yes, we saw you before,
Go ahead.
Sorry, you've never heard that one there? It's either that one or the band. I was just gonna say.
So remember, I will. You need to. Yeah, it's just I don't know whether we have to do it.
Yeah, we have to get up.
So you can tell them that I'll tell you. I'll try to figure out why they can't find somebody.
Oh, I get it. Okay, so that's right.
Oh, good for you.
That's
Yeah, so you can have a seat here, and Stuart, did you guys? Okay, good.
Thanks, sir.
I have a quasi-brother-in-law.
So you guys, as soon as I can, a good buddy of mine lost it.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that. Okay, I'll okay, and then I've got two more pictures of you.
Yes, go on. I'm John.
Christy, are you okay? Hello.
I think so, yeah. I'll casually drop some. Perfect.
You've been picking on me all
Nice to meet you.
Awesome time.
That was work, Dave.
Thank you.
That's just perfect.
So, yeah, so everyone was in and it's always been. And then you
Another 40. No, sorry. Yeah, no, 40. I think it's good. Try and sell my groups. I'm not going to go there with more. So, a guy who owns a credit union in a place like about 40 of them. It's like for himself and his staff. And we're going to sit in my office and sell 20 plus to clients. And so 20 of them to
know her. So,
as far as the next table away, my dog went out.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Bob, how are you? Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
He did not look well.
Can you add to the kind of excitement?
No complaints.
So I went down to each secretary.
Oh, that was you?
I've done it.
Unreal. I couldn't believe that. It was only 40 plus, but still.
I was in the back car.
Talk to clients, gets a good response. You know, they appreciate that.
Oh, really?
When I get back,
I guess speakers you should.
You guys, I gotta get you before some other Rotarians get there.
Hair,
Ian Roberts and I over
Rip Festival.
Ian Carter. And he's one of the last. I think the last couple of years he's split it.
no, it's a break.
When you're ISL, himself, whoever got there first.
Almost completely backed off. It's still there. It's not going to be
It always happens when we have something in the mouth.
If you've got more than $3 million.
Hi, John. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
No, the $3 million. Well, it can't afford investment, has to be investment. It'll be stocks.
Cybernetics in town. We've been around for a while. And I'm filling in. Last few days, the guy that was going to rep our company couldn't make it. So I thought, yeah, for a favor. So I thought I'd fill in. Learn a little bit about Rotary Club because I don't know much.
Classic service club. There's 5 clubs locally.
Okay.
But across the world, there's about 1.2 million. 30,000 clubs.
Of course, I've heard the name. I just don't know what the overall focus would be. But
And we're classic service. We help with that. Our big thing is we're trying to eradicate polio.
Okay.
We're spending a ton of money on it. We're down to, I think we're 5 cases last year.
They wanted their own pension.
We started at 85 and there were something.
We have them, well, you can set up those corporations.
We got it down to 5.
Hold your retirement savings inside here and, you don't have that. And then they want to pull that away from us. Well, they were splitting it over the.
it's amazing.
It is, so huge program. It's the second time. Well, that's our big one. We've been working on it for years.
What would have been the other one? Smallpox?
Yeah, it was. So Bill Gates is doing that. He's helping out. Several countries, lots of
That's incredible. Now, last year, am I correct that polio made a bit of a bump in certain regions where it came back?
There's different vines.
Okay.
There's really critical different classes. But yeah, it can come back. So that's what before it's considered COVID. So it's been declining, but it came back in a couple of areas where they thought it was eradicated. So it can come back. And you can imagine some of these rural areas in Africa. You know, they really have a hard time finding it unless somebody's actually they develop systems that they can identify it sooner. Rather than just looking for somebody who's got polio. So that's really
So full service club, what would be the corporate entity itself? Is it purely not-for-profit, purely charitable?
We've got two entities. One's a foundation,
Okay.
and then one is a service. The only reason we really have two is we need a
Revenue generating.
Yeah.
But from a practical standpoint,
Where's this inclusivity and fairness and equity is?
So I'm joining Habitat meeting tonight. I guess they said, oh, you're in Rotary. They have a presentation right now for Rotary. It's a Habitat community. I called it Habitat. So I guess they have a presentation for Rotary folks to do all their home builds here. Kind of makes sense. Anyways, so I guess Gary or Jerry has been Jerry. Yeah. So he asked me to join the committee tonight for Habitat, so I'm going to join him tonight at 4. Are you on?
No, no.
Okay.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. Yeah. So Rivera, their biggest sponsorship dollars are going to Habitat right now. Rivera's going to be
Yes, yeah. Born and raised.
You're gonna have to talk to the committee, your committee for Rotary here, your board. So the pool, one other thing, because there's 3 properties, before they started working it, because I was kind of overseeing, they're splitting the cost of ownership. So something to look at, like how she's paying more right now. Don't know if there's a second person.
And then 24 just
Like
jumped
when
right
we
into
jumped the league. I just,
first
it's something to kind of.
And Jody and I created it, you know, ad-based freedom of distance back in the day. Sold our first company to a public company, and then formed Cybernetics in 2002.
One person.
And yeah, the rest is kind of history.
I mean, to oppose it. Even if you know, we're gonna pay for a second.
But yeah, I never.
So Deb, our accountant, sorted.
We never thought about moving out of town. That's the great thing about the tech community here. Most of the growth in the tech community stay here and invest back into the community. So we were the event sponsor for the latest plug-in event that was downtown Kitchener, for instance. That Mike Litt does with Vidyard. I don't know if you heard about it, but that was for the YWCA. We're very active in charity.
Yeah.
We started our own charities. I started my own charity. Backpack for kids in the Dominican Republic. So we have a bunch of like in the Dominican Republic, all kids can go to school, but if you don't have the essential supplies, you're not allowed to go. So I got kind of tired of thinking about where I put my own personal money. And one day I just said, I have a call center in the Dominican Republic wired to help those kids in the sea on the streets. So I just decided to open a backpack for kids. I funded it myself a little bit. We started small, and then our call center manager in the Dominican grabbed it, our staff grabbed it. So we make all the uniforms for kids there, buy all the supplies. So we take a backpack, load it full of uniform and all the supplies, and give it to a kid that can't go to school. And it became our own homegrown charity. And I guess for a long time too, I didn't tell anyone, but I was the guy that was doing bears and bunnies, all the stuffed animals that KW Hospital was giving to children. So I try to do sporadic stuff in the community, but also internationally. Actually, there's a service club. We're doing I was mentoring a guy for a year and a half. Come up with something very, very interesting that you guys want to hear about. It's called Give Something. You know this something? Okay. Okay. So I'm mentoring for quite a while to bring it to life. And I'm helping put on an event Thursday at Lot 42. It's called Give. And we have Michael Landsberg coming to interview me and Mike Litt from Vidyard and Jay, who started Give Something. So the premise is essentially it's an app that you download. Let's say you're having a good day and you got $20 and you're walking down the street and you go, where do I put the $20? How often does that happen, right? What do I do with $20? What do I do with $40? Where do I put it? You can just open up your Give Some app, and it's micro giving. So essentially, you're going to see it. You get to pick events. So an event could be 6 women hypothetically in the world that do the sewing machine. I can put my $20 to that right now in my wallet, and then a crowd funds the rest from their members, and then you get a video of them receiving some machine. So it's micro giving, and the goal is 10 million times $1 a week. That's the workplace culture side. It's going right to because on the profit side of the equation is public speak on workplace culture. That's my thing. That's what I do. That's what I love. And I went to him and I said, what would be amazing is, as a leader, no matter what I do, no matter how much effort I put into it, there's no way that I can take whatever money I've allocated out of my company and put it to the right charity that reflects everyone in the organization. It's impossible. So I said, if I could take that money and load up a pile of cards, or Fibernetics gives some app, so I can just give all my employees, and then they can pick what they want.
Yeah.
I thought that would be amazing because it would improve employee engagement, they feel directly connected to the employee giving, and that's their for-profit side. So they charge the company X amount of money to have the application, and then the company just charges the app per employee to be able to give the money away. It's pretty cool. It's a good form of technology.
I was with Dave Bryson Monday night. So Dave Bryson and Dave Brady. On Mondays, we were at the lot 42 for the beer bacon.
So that's the event, this Thursday.
I know, he told me like you have to do that on Thursday.
Give, yeah. It's completely jammed past capacity right now. So if Dave invited you, then I would go like through Dave. Love to have you, but it filled up so fast. It was originally only going to be for 50 leaders and selected individuals, and then all of a sudden, Michael Landsberg wanted to host it and ask questions, and then Dave Chilton wanted to be there. Both mayors are now there. A friend of mine, Peter McKay, might show up as well. Next, Minister of Justice. So there's some relatively high-profile people there because it is an application and a piece of technology that hopefully can really change the world in a positive way. It has that potential. And then today I'll be speaking about kids' Wi-Fi. That's what Everett and I think wanted us to speak about. Kids' Wi-Fi is I'll get into it beforehand, but it's essentially we made a decision to innovate from a social responsibility perspective at our company. And kids' Wi-Fi is, we just looked at parental control, and the internet since deregulation really happened in '94. So this is an old industry in terms of parental control. Why is it broken? Why is it not working? And when I dove into it really heavy, I could not believe the statistics I was reading and how bad it actually is out there. So instead of just sitting there and going, let's put up with 1 inch 3 children posting naked photos of themselves in the kingdom, let's do something about it. That's the recent stat that came out of the Children's Commission in the United Kingdom. It's not teenagers, children 1 in 3 are posting some form of naked photos.
I was audited.
And
The auditor had my books for 3 months.
it's really scary. Well, I like to say, you wouldn't go to Central Park with your grandkids or your kids and say, okay, go play for 2 hours and bring it back. We do it every day when we hand the iPad over because it's unregulated. It's unfiltered and unregulated. And most of the stuff that you could get to in 3 clicks was on the black market when I was a kid. Right? And it's like, or another analogy I use is you wouldn't give your 16-year-old car keys to go drive. It teaches them how to use the road, like not use the car and navigate the roads. But the internet is just this beast that we have this kind of thought that it's fine. It's really not.
I find that things you do here in Indian.
That's
As an adult.
right. Most of our kids are not bad digital citizens. Actually, most of our kids are good digital citizens, except you're just going to bump into the content. And then they don't know how to process it.
So it's the solution to control.
Yeah, so we wanted to make something that was, 1, really simple, 2, that hadn't been designed before. Because you look at software, and NetNanny was great in its day, but no parent has the time to download software onto every device, do the updates on every device, and the kid doesn't install it. It was great when there was like one access point to the internet. So we knew it couldn't be just software based, it had to be a combo of hardware and software. So essentially what kids' Wi-Fi is, it's the size of an air freshener. You take it out of a box, you plug it into any electrical outlet in your home. It works with any internet connection in the world. It auto powers up. It mimics your existing Wi-Fi signal that you're trying to network and creates a second network. So You have a primary network now for the parents. You change your password so your kids don't know that password. And now you have the kids' Wi-Fi network, and all your kids and their friends, and they come over under that network, and we filter all porn, all gambling, all social content, all adult content, even the ads that are embedded in games that parents don't know about that. Contain malware that can actually affect the entire network of home.
Right.
We block all that. And you could go into a parental dashboard, so it's built it to be very user-friendly. You could go in and you could say, I want the internet to go to sleep at 10 o'clock and wake back up at 7. Right, so kids aren't under the blankets. And let's say we're on a trip like this and your son just won't get off, your son or daughter won't get off the mobile device. You can pick up your phone and hit pause, and the internet's paused. Time scheduling. Yeah, should be.
Can you randomly pick my
I was gonna, you know what, I recognize the last name, obviously. Yeah, he's my uncle. Yeah. Did you ever know my uncle Pat Jared? Yeah. Did you ever know my uncle Pat Jared? Yeah, that's my uncle Pat. Pat married my Carl's sister, my dad's sister. So my dad would be Ed Stix. Carl's a great guy. Oh, really? Yeah, he's doing good.
Thank you for coming, sir.
My cousin, his daughter Laura, just got married 6 months ago, and we're happy about that. Hoping for grandkids.
You know what I'm thank you very much. You're right, she'll steal my water. I don't know why they don't have pictures of water.
Kill all the other programs.
Bob is oh, okay. I got a call from him the other day. Yeah, so I was trying to. I was wondering if you had said something to him, or you just to walk in the draw. So.
I think we'll continue on with the meeting at this point. Starting with some club business. There's not a whole lot of stuff on the agenda today. Birthdays, Tony Givazzo, February 25th, so it's last week. And Glenn Mackin, well, he's not really having a birthday this month, but because he was born on February the 29th. So most of you probably don't know Glenn. He's a long-time member, was a president at one time. But according to my calculations, he's probably about 20 years old right now. So he's born February 29th. So if you know Glenn, send him an email and wish him happy birthday. No wedding anniversaries, no club anniversaries. Just a little bit of club business. VFL, I noticed some folks had their tickets, that were turning in tickets today. Neil had a huge stack and he's not done yet. And Everton had a pretty good stack, and I think I saw a few others bringing tickets back. So get selling. Simon had a huge stack too, did he? Little stack. Okay, well done. Get on it early. Otherwise, some other Rotarian's going to get your ticket and you're not going to sell it. I mentioned last week. So if you go on the internet via Skype or Facebook to watch the meeting, don't forget to let Karen Boyce know so you get a credit for attending the meeting. Jerome, how's bingo going? Are we getting people signed up?
We need one person for sure for March the 8th. We're short one person for March the 8th.
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Yeah. Okay, so if you're free next Thursday, we'd really like to have you out.
Please send me an email so we can put you on the list.
Yep, definitely. Please sign up, and if you haven't signed up for the January to June period, sign up for that because we have to.
I'll do March 8th.
March 8th? Okay, Leo,
Thank
you're
you,
on.
Leo.
So.
Everton, you hear that?
Yep.
March 8th.
Thank you.
And a reminder about the International Convention in June. Sign up now. You can't wait till June 1st to sign up. People are You know, if you wait that long, you won't even get in. So sign up now, and if you sign up now, then you can get into some of the cool events they have, but they fill up real quickly. My experience in Atlanta was the really neat stuff fills up quickly. So go on the website, sign up, and participate. It's a real opportunity. It's a magnificent event, really. So it's just down the road in Toronto, so be a good idea to attend. Is there any other news or information that members need to share? That's a no. Troy tells me the jackpot for 50/50 is up to $466. Somebody's going to be independently wealthy soon. And the first ticket number is, last three digits are 884. 884. Is that you, Rick? You can use this to subsidize your retirement.
Yeah, me too, yeah. I put 2 or 3 black ones in there.
Well, I forgot to hold it up really high.
Nope.
No such luck. I did check. It's in there.
I didn't check.
873. 873.
Yeah, that's me.
Right.
Wrong one.
No conflict of interest there. Thank you.
Nice try.
Yes. And 881. Kelly, is that you? Come on up here.
Hey, win it. Win it. Race tomorrow.
They can see a new golf club in your future. No. You're pretty good with the old ones. Did they win? Nobody won. There's still a few marbles in there. Black. The pot lives on. And we have a nice bottle of Pinot Grigio from Molinari here. For those of you who, for any of you, the first person to answer this question. Rotary, no. Rotary trivia. Well, nice try. Now you're disqualified from the rest of it. When and where was the last Rotary International Convention in Canada?
Winnipeg.
Sorry?
Winnipeg.
Nope.
Nope, it was in Toronto.
Nope.
Vancouver.
Nope.
Montreal.
Halifax.
What year?
72.
87. Montreal. I get half the bottle.
You gotta share with somebody.
67.
Need the year.
87.
83.
84. Higher or lower?
No,
Okay.
2010, guys.
Save it for now.
2010. Sorry, I keep the bottle this week. Sorry, you're on the line.
What? I want an audit.
2010. That's according to what I saw on the website. So, I think that's it for business.
I think that's the one that spends any time on it.
So we have our speaker here today now, John Stix. We were talking to him over lunch, and he's a pretty interesting guy, and he's got some interesting ideas. And so I'm going to call on Bob Kieswetter to introduce John.
Hi. Our guest speaker is an I'm in transformation specialist. And I don't know what that is, but I'm just telling you that. He has helped multiple organizations and their people through a holistic shift in culture, strategy, and values-based actions, starting with a company he co-founded, Fibernetics, which is the 5th largest telecom company in Canada. John credits his significant personal transformation with enabling him to lead his company through this necessary change. John's success with workplace culture and helping others discover the same journey for themselves has led him into consulting and speaking across the world. And while continuing to lead his organization and build several others, John has delivered keynote speeches at venues from private insurance firms to a group on behalf of the White House. He founded Fibernetics with a partner. He has led an international team by example and empowerment. After introducing his I'm In corporate initiative, John received the Best Employer Branding Award in 2015 from the Canadian Human Resources Association and was also finalist for the Leader of the Year. As an entrepreneur, John has been a visionary, a thought leader, and mentor, taking startups to enterprise-level organizations and figuring out innovative ways to keep all employees highly engaged through all stages of growth and transformation. His latest venture, which he will speak of today, is Kids Wi-Fi, and it sounds very interesting for us now. John has spoken around the world, and he was fortunate enough to personally meet Pope Francis when he signed on to the Kids Wi-Fi. I give you John. Thanks.
I never know what bio has been sent. Thanks for that. So yeah, so I will admit I'm kind of a last minute fill-in. One of my business partners, Mike Brown, was going to be here because of a relationship that exists. Happy to be here. I thought I'd just give a general talk about cybernetics and some of the initiatives like I'm In and what that actually means for all of you, and how that's led us to on a course of really trying to be involved in our community, but also innovating, not just innovating as a tech company, but innovating in a way that is socially responsible. So for those of you that don't know who Fibernetics is, we're a homegrown tech company in town Waterloo, born and raised myself. My business partners and I started it. I guess we would be considered one of the older tech companies in town, as opposed to a lot of the newer ones that are popping up through Communitech. When I started in 1994, I can't believe it goes back that far now, we were the guys that originally invented free ad-based long distance. So for those of you who might remember story of Gary Stocky when he had a GM dealership in Stratford, he was paying for Stratford to talk to Waterloo, and Waterloo to talk to Stratford for free, but you had to listen to an ad as the call was connected, and it was brought to you by Gary Stocky. That was Jody and I in our basement, and we started that with no money whatsoever. In fact, that first company we started with basically a box of rice-a-roni and craft dinner. And skipping forward many years, we have an organization now that is the 5th largest in terms of telecom companies in Canada. We're a national company. A lot of people don't know our brand Fibernetics because we've been empowering a lot of other brands across the country. So think of us as a company that actually has its own national infrastructure. So companies like Vonage and Skype, brands that you might have heard of, actually buy facilities from Fibernetics. So we have the 5th biggest network in Canada. To put that in perspective, you might know a phone company called Primus. We have a network that's bigger than Primus. So what I'd like to talk to you about is what happened with us. We grew very, very, very fast over the years. Our second company, which is the company I'm referencing now, we started in 2002 after we sold our first one. And we've been on an incredible trajectory, starting again with only just a few of us to a couple hundred employees, and went double-digit growth year after year after year after year. For the most part, it was incredibly gratifying and fulfilling and exciting. But what happened was around year 10, we hit a wall. And that wall was we simply lost ourselves. I started to notice infighting in our organization and a breakdown in communication, and growth had dipped, and KPIs, key performance indicators, were starting to really go to levels that I'd never seen before within our organization. I noticed that people that normally were getting along and had gotten along in the past weren't anymore. I also noticed that certain talent that we always were able to retain was leaving our organization. And I started thinking, what's happening to my beloved company, the dream that I helped create, that we love so much? Why is this occurring? And at the same time, ironically enough, I was going through a major shift and change myself. I had been, up until that point in time, very driven. I would say described as someone that you really couldn't even really speak to in the hallway. I was the guy that I would say now I was misunderstood, but I was not approachable. And I had, for the first time in my life, in the very dream that I helped create, not wanted to be at work anymore. And that was a very hopeless feeling for myself. So I not only started seeing our teammates and employees not engaged, but I was feeling like I didn't want to be there anymore. And considering that we had realized the dreams that we always wanted to create with multiple buildings and lots of friendships and a profitable company, and we had attained all those things, I couldn't figure out what was going on inside of me, why I wouldn't want to be there. But it got to the very point where I actually went one morning to put my hand on the front door and I let it go, and I went into my car and turned the music up and I said, uh-oh, something's really serious going on, and not only just myself, but it's obviously bled right into the entire organization. And I said, I think it's so serious that if I don't figure out what's going on with myself and I let this occur as a leader within the organization, it could literally cripple us. So what I decided to do is just try to be an entrepreneur with it. I decided to look really inside myself. So I'd ask first friends, I'd say, hey, have you ever felt this way? If so, yeah, John, you never take a vacation? Take a vacation. So I'd take a vacation, come back, nothing changed, and they'd say, you took the wrong vacation. But I was trying all these different things, but nothing was working. So I decided, I wasn't gonna let anyone else own my issues. I was gonna say, I was gonna look inside myself to figure out what was going on with me. So I did that. And let's just say that a sequence of events occurred in my life that permanently changed it. I took a trip out to Vancouver, and it's my favorite city, and I just wanted to go out there for a conference and do a little bit of relaxing and be very quiet and try to figure out what's going on. And there's a sequence of events, like I just referenced, that happened to me over a 4-day period that changed my life. And I knew that I was never going to be the same person again from these events. And when I came back to Kitchener-Waterloo to go back to Fibernetics, I realized that I had simply forgotten that I just genuinely love people. And I was caught up in shareholder value and the meetings and driving revenue and all these other things. And you need those things to create a healthy organization. But I had forgotten what got us there in the first place was the people. So right then and then, I decided that I was going to change the way I was leading the company, and I was going to be a people-first company, and we were going to transform the entire workplace culture, and we were going to invest in the people that made up the organization. And I figured if I could invest in them and empower them and make them feel well and possibly even happy, that should lead to productivity, and if that theory works, then productivity leads to results. So to make a very long story short, I decided to close my office and basically bake within that kind of idea and strategy for a month. I didn't barely talk to anyone. I just wanted to figure out how I could do this. The workplace culture wasn't even a word or phrase that I had used up until that point in time. And I started noticing that articles that I had read from Eyes as an Entrepreneur, like Steve Jobs, he wasn't necessarily talking about the innovations that they created at Apple. He was talking about how everyone came together, no matter where they were in the world, to create not just the innovation, but the packaging, the marketing, to get these lineups at 5:30 in the morning at a store to buy a new device. And then I started hearing phrases from people that I really respected that, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And these were major leaders in our world, in the business community. So I really dove into it, and I decided, okay, I'm going to make a plan. And that plan I coined I'm In. And what I'm In to us it's our emotional bond as a business. So I decided we needed a whole new set of core values, a whole new company purpose, and we also needed to find our roots as an organization. And our roots are simple. It's when I first met Jody, and Jody met me, and we were going to come together as business partners, we weren't talking about the shiny towers or how much money we were going to make. It was really, did he understand my idea, and did I understand his idea, and did we share in that? Do you get my dream? And we established that connection to be able to know that we were completely in and go forward. And we had lost that as an organization. So, I'm skipping forward a little bit, but we did an offsite, and I wanted to bring all of our leaders together because I really wanted to transform the company. And I knew we were going to have disagreements and arguments, and I knew we were going to not have the exact same elevator pitch, as they say, to describe our company. And I was welcoming that. I was okay with that. And sure enough, in one day, we came out of there when consultants told us it would take us 3 weeks to a month. In one day, we came out with a whole new set of core values, and one was happiness.
And happiness to us means mind, body, and spirit. So that told us that we were going to invest into our employees from that perspective. And we came up with a brand new company purpose that doesn't sound anything like an internet or phone company, to deliver happiness and connections every day by being awesome. And what that meant was happiness for our customers, happiness for our vendors, happiness for ourselves, happiness for our teammates. And connections meant internet connections, voice connections, connections with our customers and vendors, and connections with our teammates. And then we held the biggest launch, the biggest party we've ever done for our organization. I was very nervous. I'd never public spoke before, and I had to get up in front of our whole company and announce that we were going to completely transform, and I had no idea the kind of reaction I was going to get. I remember getting up in front of the company thinking that I was going to throw up right on the spot. And we were going to unveil this incredible new transformation, and I had no idea what to expect. But I decided that at that point in time that vulnerability was a strength as opposed to a weakness, so I was just going to put myself out there and say, I'm going to lead differently and I'm going to lead from my heart. And what happened is we caught people hugging, and we caught emotions, and we caught incredible moments in time where people were embracing and sharing stories right on video. And what it was it wasn't that people didn't care about our company, it's that we had lost our care for each other because we got too busy. And it started to erode the fabric of the business. So that's new set of core values and company purpose and I'm in mantra. Our I'm in binds us together. It's our emotional bond. It's what gets us excited to go to Fibernetics. And from that, we put in a whole pile of amazing initiatives. One, simple changes, like I gave everyone their day off on their birthday. I couldn't figure out why we didn't do that before. I said, you know what? 16 hours a year as a start are paid, take them off and go affect positive change in our community. So that means go volunteer for any charity that you want and we'll pay for those 16 hours. And if we can do more, we will, but as a minimum we're going to do that. And I eliminated overtime for a period of time because I believed that our staff was so fatigued that if you're that fatigued, how can you perform and make good decisions? It doesn't make sense. When I'm overly tired, I can't. So I just started to make decisions differently based on the fact that we all wanted to be a happier organization. And lo and behold, what happened within 4 months is astounding. I could never have imagined it. But our HR concerns dropped 85% in 4 months. We didn't have a conflict resolution in 4 months because people were fixing the problems themselves. And our growth that I referenced earlier, where we dipped under 10% to 9%, we finished the year at 50%. So the growth of the company went up like this, but yet we felt more gelled than we'd ever been before. So imagine the pressure on the organization to not only adopt a brand new whole philosophy of how to be a company, but to support growth at 50%. All because we invested in people's happiness and cared, and came up with things like, we couldn't figure out why people would say, don't take it personal, it's just business, and think that's acceptable in our society. So our organization is different. We put people first, and we invest in our people, and we invest in their wellness because we believe by investing in their wellness, they're going to be passionate, and we believe passion leads to happiness, and happiness leads to productivity, and productivity leads to results. And one of the programs that we put into place that I'm here to speak about today led to Kids Wi-Fi, and it all stems back to workplace culture. So what we did is we went to every employee and said, you're safe to tell us you don't like what you do anymore. You won't lose your job. If you have a dream about being an entrepreneur, and you think that your dream can become a real business, come to us with it. And if we think it can become a real business and align with you, we'll put all the money around it and all the people, and you can own up to 49% of your business. So we thought, you know what, that's a great idea for our staff. We don't know how it's going to translate into ideas, but at least we're honoring and looking at their creative ideas. Lo and behold, it started in an office that was, I would say, from here to there, just 3 of us. And 6 months later, Fibernetics had to buy a 25,000 square foot facility on the other side of Waterloo to house all of our innovations. And 6 months later, one made the cover of Canadian Business Magazine as Innovator of the Year. The other one was created and now competes with Amazon and Dropbox and cloud services. And another one is Kids Wi-Fi. So what Kids Wi-Fi is we looked at parental control and we said, why is it broken? Why is it not working? And it's not working not because we're saying it's not working because of all the statistics that are out there. So right now, in Canada and the United States, only 25% of any device has any filtration activated on it whatsoever. 1 in 3 children, latest stat from the Children's Commissioner in the United Kingdom, is that 1 in 3 children, not teenagers, are posting some form of naked photo of themselves. Cyberbullying is at the all-time highest it's ever been. And I could just rattle off an incredible amount of statistics that I've had to memorize over time, but we are embarking on what a lot of researchers are saying right now in Harvard. We're working with Sean Aker. I don't know if you know who Sean Aker is, but he's has his own research institute, formerly taught at Harvard, that we are right now in the midst of what could be the greatest social experiment in the history of the world, on what our children are being exposed to and how their minds are processing it, and what they're predicting that what will happen to our kids when they're 20 years old, i.e. the desensitization. Most of the content that our children are seeing was on the black market when I was a kid, right? And it happens within 3 clicks. So we started to look at parental control and say, it's broken, it's not working. Net Nanny, when it came out, was amazing, but why is it flawed now? So if you're not familiar with what Net Nanny is, it's a software that you can download onto a device like a computer. But it doesn't work anymore because it was great when there was one access point for the whole family to get onto the internet. But now there's an average of 6 to 10 devices per family. So parents don't have the time to think about downloading software on every device, do the updates, and hope and pray that your child doesn't uninstall that software. By the way, there's forums all over the internet on how to uninstall it. So we said it can't be software-based. That's not working anymore. That's not protecting our kids. It has to be software-based, but intelligent software also that allows parents to manage it. But it also has to be a piece of hardware that can do certain jobs that we need it to do. So essentially what we created is a little device. I didn't bring one today, unfortunately. A little device, it's the size of an air freshener. It's about this big. It's called Kids Wi-Fi. We call it Kiwi. You take it out of a box, you plug it into any electrical outlet in your home. There's no batteries, obviously. It auto powers up and creates a second network. So you have your primary internet network in your home, right? What this does is it bounces off your existing primary network, no matter what internet connection it is in the world. It works with any internet connection in the world. It bounces off that network and creates a second network called Kids Wi-Fi. So now the parents have their own network, and now the kids have their own network. There's no monthly fees to it, it's just a one-time cost. But what that allows us to do is, one, as parents, you simply change your password. You know your password when you're getting online? You change your password so your kids don't have it, or your grandkids. And then when you, for your kids' Wi-Fi network, all your kids and their friends, when they come over to visit with their devices, are all under the kids' Wi-Fi network, and we block all pornography, gambling, social content, adult content, and even the ads that are embedded in the games that are incredibly dangerous that people don't know. I know so many parents that say, okay, I'm going to pick a game like Peppa Pig for my 5-year-old, and I'm going to leave because she's just playing Peppa Pig. Cheryl Hickey, who's our spokesperson, the reason why she joined with us is because she did that exact same thing. And then she ran back to her daughter because the Peppa Pig that her kid was playing, that she put on the iPad, was actually a Peppa Pig game that was with machetes and killing all the pigs. So this kind of content, let alone the extreme stuff that we all know about, obviously, right? People that are taking advantage of our children, people that are meeting our children in ways that they never did before. They're underground, they're on their computers. So we launched this thinking, we think it could be a great device that could be sold through, for instance, raising funds for hockey teams, instead of candy bars or other things like that, buy a kids' Wi-Fi device and donate money, protect a family, but let's donate the money to the hockey team. We didn't really think that it would become a, kind of like this global company. It's not global now, but there's certainly been a lot of global awareness. So we thought, well, how are we going to launch it? We know Justin Bieber's father. So we thought Justin Bieber would be an incredible exposure for it, although arguably some of the content we would have to filter. But their family does a lot for kids, and a lot of people don't know that. And Jasmine, Justin's sister, younger sister, is this amazing 8-year-old who's incredible. Watch out for when she turns 16. She can really sing, by the way. We thought she would be an amazing example of a kid that we're trying to protect. And because she's Justin's sister, she has 850,000 people on her Instagram account. So we thought, maybe we could partner there, and we did. She became our kid's spokesperson. Then we thought Cheryl Hickey would be great to represent us, the mothers that we obviously want to communicate to. And she signed on because Cheryl Hickey is very caring about families, and she has 2 children. So we launched, and then Justin tweeted that my dad is using kids' Wi-Fi to protect my little brother and sister. That got 76,000 retweets around the world. Now, what came from that is we had no idea of the severity of the problem at that stage of kids' Wi-Fi. So I stepped down as president of Fibernetics to run with kids' Wi-Fi because I became very emotionally motivated to affect this change. I should say this, none of us make any money from kids' Wi-Fi. None of us take salaries, there's no profits that we take, and all the money to develop kids' Wi-Fi, bring it to market, has all been exclusively paid for by Fibernetics, and Fibernetics is not even accruing the debt. We spun kids' Wi-Fi out as a separate company, and it became our mission from a social responsibility perspective to try to create change in the world. And what's happened from that has been absolutely amazing. We were part of 150 leaders around the world. I was asked to partake. It was an incredible honor. The first ever declaration in the digital world to protect children was in Rome, and 150 leaders around the world were flown in to work 3 days on figuring out what this declaration would be on how we're going to protect kids going forward. And we came up with that declaration, and it was signed by Pope Francis, binding the Catholic Church to it. And it was a major win for us. But what we're really experiencing is a lack of awareness to this issue. Parents do not know the severity of the problem. I like to use this analogy, and I said it at the table earlier. You would not go to Central Park with your kids or your grandkids and say, okay, go play and meet me back here in 2 hours. But we do it with millions of people every day when we say, here's your iPad, now go play. The internet is unregulated. It's not protected. There's no filtration. There's actually a new internet that's under the internet, if you're not familiar. It's called the dark web. There is a tremendous amount of content that you can get to within 2 or 3 clicks that your kids should never see, let alone see all the time. Social services in our own community made my eyebrows raised to as high as they could possibly go when they called us out of the blue saying, we have to get the government to buy your devices. And I said, why? Because there's a new problem that's emerged. And I said, what? Well, are you familiar with children being addicted to pornography? I said, yeah, unfortunately I am. They said, well, there's another new problem. I said, what's that? This is our hometown, by the way. This isn't halfway around the world. These kids that are addicted to pornography are acting out some of these things they're learning on their younger brothers and sisters. This is what we're dealing with right now. This is why 150 leaders flew around the world to meet. The #1 aspect of the declaration coming out of Rome was to create awareness so parents understand the severity of the problem. We just don't know. We don't think it's that bad. And I can tell you why. I've learned. We're the crossover generation. When I was a kid sitting in the dentist chair, and my dentist, let's say, said, don't worry, John, we're going to fix this little tooth that you got a cavity, and leaned over with a cigarette and blew it in my face. He didn't know that that was bad. Half of my life was with no internet or just relative speeds. The last half of my life and our lives will be outrageous internet speeds, and anyone is a content curator. And my iPhone's over there. All I need is my iPhone. I could be anywhere in the world, and I can make any content I want and post it on the internet. There's no one in between that regulates it or filters it. Our kids, within a few clicks, are exposed to anything and everyone. My business partner, while we were developing this, talk about putting adrenaline into the situation, his kid put in Halloween costumes. And what came up from Halloween costumes sent the little guy on a very dark path. And he has a learning disability. And it took a year with psychologists to get those images out of his mind. This is happening everywhere. It really is that serious. So kids Wi-Fi is standing for trying to protect kids. And what we're doing next is we're coming out with a mobile solution. So we're coming out with a solution with the same filtration software that we have for all mobile phones. It will be free. We will never charge for it. Parents can download it. Grandparents, caregivers can download it on their kids' phones. When the kid tries to uninstall it, if they do, it will text the parent. We also have we have also put in a lot of management tools to allow parents to manage what the kids see. We thought if a 16-year-old has the permission and the age to be able, and the freedom to be able to use Facebook, they shouldn't be punished because they have to be on the kids' Wi-Fi network because of their brother who's 5. So you can pair each device to that kid's Wi-Fi device. So if the 16-year-old has freedom to see everything but except maybe Reddit, and the 5-year-old kid shouldn't see anything, they're on default coverage and everything's blocked, but the older son or daughter can see everything except Facebook. We also put in features like pausing the internet. So let's say you're around the dining room table. We wanted to bring back family time. How many times are you around dining room tables where the kids or teenagers can never get off their phone? So you can pick up your phone and pause the internet. You can set bedtime settings. So let's say your kids go to bed at 10 o'clock. You could go into the kids' Wi-Fi device. It's a simple drop-down menu on your phone, on the parental dashboard, and you can say, I want the kids' Wi-Fi internet to go to sleep at 10 o'clock and wake back up at 7. And if kids are with their friends under blankets trying to get on the internet, it actually comes up on the screen, I'm sleeping. And so should you. So we're allowing parents to feel like they can monitor and shape the internet experience based on what they know, which is their children. But also make sure that it's robust enough to really filter the nasty content that's out there that our kids should never see. So what's the future for kids Wi-Fi? We're going to keep trying to build awareness to allow parents to really understand the severity of the problem. When I first came out with it, I was really torn because I public speak on happiness, gratitude, and workplace culture. And here I am thinking I got to talk about something that's so scary. But over the last year, I've realized I just have to tell the truth. It just is that bad. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it, and I'm not going to make it worse than what it is. If you want to find out more about what's going on, go to kidswifi.com. We have lots of content, lots of blogs, videos. There's a gentleman by the name of White Hatter. He's a former police officer in Victoria Police Staff Sergeant. He left his police job to exclusively talk to kids in high schools across North America about this exact problem. He has spoken to 300,000 of them. He's got 50,000 more kids to speak to this year. He's being booked all the time. And out of every solution out there in North America, he only says to use ours. We're very proud of that innovation. And again, it came, to loop it all back before I close off, it came from investing in people in the first place. It came when we decided to empower people to chase their dreams, and from an organizational perspective, invest in those dreams. And what it turned out to be was absolutely transformative for our whole organization, but us as people as well. Fibronetics soared with incredible statistics and KPIs. We innovated like we'd never done before, and we had stories of affecting our communities like we'd never done before, and families. So thanks a lot for having me talk.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So does anybody got any questions for John?
I do. What about the 8-year-old that gets a lawyer and says they're infringing on my charter rights and freedoms to know this?
Yeah, no. First off, the internet's not regulated, and you're the parent. You have every right. You can cancel the internet if you want. You can go to if you're subscribed to internet with Bell, you can say I don't want internet. The kid can't do anything about that, right? So there's no difference. You're allowed. And to be honest with you, what's really interesting from that question, thanks for asking that, is that guess what? It turns out we thought that we were going to have a problem with kids being like filtered and complaining. Guess what? It turns out. It turns out our kids like to feel protected. And also what it turned out is a lot of parents don't want to see that stuff. So a lot of parents aren't changing the password. They're just letting kids' Wi-Fi filter everything.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, sorry. giving any secrets away or getting too technical, how do you keep current in what you're protecting from?
It's a great question. So Google called us in, the head of engineering, and said, how are you filtering? Because we obviously know everything that goes on in the internet. You know, we spent a long time with algorithms. We spent a long time thinking about how we were going to do it. But staying on top of it is a challenge. So without going really too technical, we're constantly watching for any other threats that are coming on, obviously not with our eyes, bots, things like that. And as soon as we detect something, then we're changing the code if we have to. But our code's been set up to be able to do a lot of what we expect to be coming in the future anyway. But if we have to change the code of the software, we do. And then we do automatic updates to all the devices.
Well, I'm trying to analogizing in a very simplistic way to my spam filter, right? You get all these Cialis ads, and so you filter those out. You tell the phone not to receive those. And then it comes back spelled with a $sign, for example.
Right.
So, I mean, that's the kind of thing I'm wondering about, is people trying to squeak by the filters.
Extremely tough to get by our filters. It's very, very robust. And yet there's a lot of independent reviews about our device. Google reviews are 4.5 out of 5 the last time I looked. And we have, right now, we are protecting well over 30, I think it's like 33,000 children right now and growing every day.
I'm sorry if I missed this. So it works with your home Wi-Fi, so it's connected to it. If the kids are out somewhere else,
yeah,
then they're not
that's why we're coming out with a mobile phone solution.
Oh, okay.
So we wanted to look at the home first.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, we never imagined that we would have gone this serious with it. I would have never imagined I would have stepped down from the company I helped create to run with it and all these other things. But now that we're in it, we're really in it. And we're looking to protect kids wherever they are. And one is a mobile solution. And within the mobile solution also, we want to tether it with GPS tracking. So for instance, we've been talking to a company like Staples, and we're thinking about creating a device that's embedded into things like the children's knapsack. And that children's knapsack will be tethered to the parental dashboard. And you know, to build out protecting our kids in a multitude of different ways.
With the plug-in unit for the house, if they unplug it, does that shut off?
Awesome question. So that's exactly why we designed it to be 2 networks. So parental control, everyone, if you don't know this, parental control has been embedded in the actual router that you get from your ISP, your phone company, for many years. The problem with that is that, 1, no one knows, and 2, it's impossible to deal with. You go into the router, you don't understand how to change it, you go to change it, you screw up a setting, now you got to call your ISP, Rogers or Bell, to figure out what you do, and oh geez, you broke the internet, go back into the router again, and then you got to wait for updates, which they never do on parental control, because it's always been an afterthought. So what we did is we wanted to make sure that it was 2 networks, because what happens is if you go, for instance, you go to work and your kid realizes that they can go and unplug the device. When they unplug the device, there is no internet for them.
And then the dashboard is simple to say we want to filter, whatever, everything.
It's just a straight up, like literally drop down.
Right.
Like to give you an idea with, if I had a presentation I would show, but for bedtime settings, it's like literally scrolling down 10, 9, 8, 7. And it does it automatically for you. It's very, very simple. That was part of what we wanted to do, was create something that was extremely simple. Our average setup time for this device is 90 seconds.
And where are they sold and how much?
Best Buy, nationwide, and Amazon, and our own website. Yeah.
$99.
Yes.
How much?
That's right.
$99.
One-time fee, and no monthlies. Per unit. Yeah.
What's the fee?
No fees. No fees. Ours are $100. $100.
That's right. I'd like to get it cheaper, to be honest with you, but what happened with that was retail likes 30%, and the guy that gets you into retail wants their cut. So it went up to $99, and I really wanted it below $50. But if you want distribution and you want to be in these retailers, it's a choice you have to make. Yes, please.
2 questions for you. So, with With an iPad now, you can actually put a control on it, so nothing, you know, 8 or 9 years old. What's the difference between that and kids' Wi-Fi?
Well, it depends on what kind of control you're putting on. So is it Apple filtration? Okay, so it depends on what version you have. This protects everything. So this protects every device, no matter whether it's Android or Apple or legacy devices, tablets or computers. With you, you're gonna have to stay on top of how you're managing that with that one particular device. And I don't wanna say, like, I'm a fan of any parental control. I wanna make that really clear. So it's awesome that you have that, but I will say that it's not near as robust as how we filter.
And we have noticed, you know, he'll have a game up there and you'll, like you said, you see the ads and you think.
That's right, the ads are bad.
Appropriate, but the ads are not.
Yeah, so I'll tell you why the ads are so bad. So everyone's afraid nowadays, for instance, the banks are extremely concerned about financial fraud, right? We're concerned about our own information being picked up in our home. So the greatest technique for attaining access to your network is through children's ads, right? Because the child doesn't know what to click on or not. So for instance, I'll give you an example. Hey, you just did amazing at this game, congratulations, click here for an upgrade of your character. Well, they click on it and it was a phishing site. There's malware attached to it. And now they're into your home network. And maybe it's not about your personal financial information they want to get access to. Maybe it is. Maybe they just want to target children. Either way, they're not really intending to do anything good. So we block ads.
So the other question is, does your device allow you to put limits on the amount of time they can use it per day?
Yeah.
Like after they had their
time
hour?
scheduling, yeah. So you could be, like I could be here right now, as I am, and I could pick up my phone and I could say, you know what, I want my well, not my granddaughter, she's only 4, but I want, hypothetically, my daughter, she's too old, but you get the point, they're gonna go home and do homework. I can pick up my phone and I can say, okay, honey, we've agreed that you're gonna do homework between 6:30 and 7:30. And no matter where I am in the world, I can activate my home internet with my parental dashboard. And then I also, by the way, I should say this, you also see all of the ads that were blocked and all the sites that were blocked. So how actually we got the Bieber family to join on is I said, Jeremy, let me plug a device in and I'll come back in 2 weeks. And Jasmine would have saw hotmanfreesex.com come on her screen. But we blocked that and she's 8 years old. So you see all that's being blocked. You get analytics on every device and what's been blocked. Sure.
First, I'd just like to say I think this is really brilliant. I applaud your efforts and.
Thanks.
But I would be interested to know what's the range on one of the units?
Yeah. So okay, that's another great question. So when we were making this, as entrepreneurs, we look at go to a whiteboard and we just list all the problems and then we try to think of solutions. And that was one of the problems that we thought would happen is we can't create a device that diminishes the internet connectivity because it's important nowadays. The internet's like a commodity, right? So the hardware that we use is a range extender. So it actually amplifies your internet. It extends the signal. So if you plug it into the back of the house, it'll help extend that internet Wi-Fi right to your backyard. We don't market it that way, but we wanted people to realize that it was part of the architecture.
Thank you.
I've got another product home called Circle with Disney.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how you distinguish yourself from.
They're similar. They're very similar, and again, I like every solution that's out there. The only thing with Circle is it's just my own opinion. I feel like they got into the business of not protecting kids, but ramming Disney content down every children's throat. And I don't think that they're taking protecting kids serious. It's more of a strategic initiative to be able to do other things. Having said that, it does protect your kids.
One last question. Greg?
How do you use your device going, and by the way, brilliant idea, brilliant concept, applaud for you, but the question is, how do you see the aspect of potential threat of net neutrality affecting your device going forward?
That could go so many different ways. Yeah, that question keeps coming up, just general, right, about the internet. we have this new technology, speaking of ads, it's for a different product, but we have a technology in our company right now that we're watching net neutrality about, because let's say you pick up your phone and you walk into Best Buy. Through the geolocation, I know you're there. So I could go to Staples and I could do a contract with them to play a Staples ad on your phone while you're in Best Buy to say, hey, we know you're in Best Buy, receive 15% off anything you intend to buy in Best Buy. And net neutrality is going to either open more of those kind of possibilities, or, you know, I don't know what's going to happen. So it's just speculation if I talk about in terms of filtration and what our intentions are with kids' Wi-Fi. I don't really have a specific answer there.
When John was talking, there were several emotions. One of them was terror. It just, I'm like most parents, I'm completely ignorant, and I was really inspired though by your work initially with the company Fibernetics, and then this kids' Wi-Fi thing is just incredibly inspiring. Really, and it must be incredibly rewarding to get up in the morning and go and work on this thing.
It is, but it's also like some of the things I heard in Rome are really sad, right? So
yeah.
it's been hard on our team, and I want to say that it's not just me, it's my business partners, it's our team. Everyone's been enormously supportive. I'm just playing one role.
Yeah,
I really mean that. Even the guy that was going to come speak, Mike Brown, who knows Everton, he's just as much a part of it as I am. But a lot of it has also been really hard for us to hear.
Yeah, sure.
Right? It's a bit overwhelming. We were just some entrepreneurs trying to think of a cool thing to do for our community, really. And it turned into discovering something that was at a level that I had no idea was that bad.
Anyways, you're gonna like this. So we have a tradition of thanking our speakers, one of these. And it's called Operation Eyesight, and to sort of celebrate the fact that we're here today, we have arranged to restore the eyesight of someone in Kenya, and her name is Jane. She's 70, so it's cataract surgery, so we pay for that, and it's sort of to celebrate the fact that you're here, and we've got a little certificate that sort of...
That's incredible.
Thank you.
I just want to say I'm very grateful. I didn't get a chance to say that. I just sometimes get wound up about that topic, but I'm very grateful that I had a chance to speak today. So.
Yeah. Just want to get up here, John. What can we do right after? Yep. Dismiss the class. So if nothing else for the good of Rotary, class dismissed. I'm going to get perfect.
Can you send me those?
Yeah.
I don't, actually.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you. Thank you. Most impressive. Thank you for taking the time. Really glad to listen to you. Thank you.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you. A lot of grandparents are buying those devices, right? Yeah, because my grandkids was Peppa Pig.
You keep talking to me. I can't write any porn. I can't spell it.
How do you get that message?
Thank you very much. that's
inspiring. I got
feedback.
6 grand.
Wow.
We'd like to see.
Congratulations.
Want
to send 6 devices, very good.
Well, a great story about transformation at February 19th.